Hey, what's up, everybody? I want to welcome you to another episode of the Dreamers Pro Daily Recap, where we give you a recap of all of the hot topics that we covered that day. You can catch them in their long format and also catch it fully streaming for free on Apple Podcasts. So yesterday was a very exciting day for me. There haven't been many games that I've been looking forward to this year on the calendar. But this was one of them, and it's going to be one of those. It was going to be the Lakers versus the Clippers, one of the more interesting matchups in the NBA because both of these teams don't travel for that game. They both play in the same arena, so it's always interesting. Now, historically, the Clippers have beaten the Lakers 11 times in a row, which is quite incredible. I think the last time the Lakers were able to beat the Clippers was back in 2020. That goes to show you just how many years it's been. And the Clippers are beating the Lakers with Kawhi Leonard, without Kawhi Leonard. They just, for whatever reason, have had the Lakers number. And yesterday, before that game started, I actually put up a poll, and the majority of the people actually thought that the Clippers were going to win. And I was one of them, right? I mean, you watch a team win 11 games in a row. I don't know why all of a sudden you would feel that something was going to change. But a very small amount of people chose the Clippers to lose that game. So what happened? I was watching the game, and in the first quarter, Kawhi Leonard was going off. I think he scored 18 points in that first quarter. It was basically a tour de force, and the Clippers were coming off of a back-to-back, although they didn't travel, but they looked to be the more energetic team in the first half. Now, as I was watching that game, LeBron and these guys, because the Lakers got down, I believe it was 18 points at one point, but I could see LeBron and these guys essentially pacing themselves, at least LeBron. Other guys weren't really coming along like Austin Reeves and others. But LeBron seemed to be pacing himself, and they were able to cut the lead, I believe, by the first half. Let me go to the box score here. I think in the first half, the lead was, let me tell you the score in the first half. The first half, the Clippers had a lead of 40, let me see what it is. No, 61 to 48. So it was about a 13-point lead. But then it got to the third quarter, and that's when things started to change. In that third quarter, the Clippers only scored 24 points to the Lakers 39. Now, what happened in that third quarter? In that third quarter, Kawhi Leonard went ice cold. Although he scored 6 points in that quarter, but he only shot 37%. He was 3 of 8 from the field. And as a matter of fact, Kawhi scored 6 that quarter. Russell Westbrook scored 8. But on the Lakers side, D'Angelo Russell came on. He scored 12. Then Anthony Davis scored 12. Then LeBron scored 4. And then what happened? We get to the fourth quarter, and Paul George goes off for 20. Kawhi Leonard only scores 2, and he was only held to 2 field goal attempts, and it made sense because they were playing through Paul George. He was the hot hand. But then LeBron James goes and scores 12 points in the fourth quarter, shooting 5 of 6 from the field. And funny enough, with about 2 minutes left in that game, I actually said to myself, I kid you not, I said that the Lakers are going to win this game. And I was angry because I stayed up very, very late on my end to watch the game. So I said the Lakers are going to win this game. So what did I do? I put up a comment on the channel. I said, this is very impressive by LeBron. And I said, good win. Because LeBron James reminded the world why he's one of the 5 greatest players of all time. In that fourth quarter, LeBron reminded me why I have him as one of the 4 greatest players of all time. Now, if you disagree with where I have him, I don't care really. That's my ranking. But what I was watching was very impressive. I'm not even going to lie to you. It was very impressive given the moment, given the momentum swing, given how easy the game. You see, LeBron scores the easiest when he has his jump shot going. And he had his jump shot going. That's when he's unguardable because usually he scores from the paint. But when he has his jump shot going, then his offense really unlocks and things become very easy for him. And he had his mid-range pull-up jump shot going, and then you saw once he had his jumper going, the shots just became very easy for him. And the rim you could tell just opened up for him there. So to watch how he was performing, it was extremely, extremely impressive. I'm not even going to front. It was a very, very, very impressive showcase by him in that game. And to me, I think that was a must-win for the Lakers. They needed it. And LeBron ended up scoring 2 points in the overtime, but Austin Reeves scored 7. And I think the turning point in that fourth quarter, in that overtime, so essentially what happened was I wished the Lakers a good night. That they won the game. And then what happens? I then turn off my computer and I was like, let me just open up the app on my phone and let me just look at it. And I look and I saw it was like 117, 114 with like 30 seconds ago. I'm like, but they were just down like what looked like double digits. I'm like, how did that happen? By the time I put on my computer, I saw the game was tie and it was going into overtime. I'm like, wait, overtime? So I then tune in and then I see Paul George fouls out immediately. And Paul George was the hot hand for the Clippers in that game. He was a hot hand for them. And then Kawhi came on. He scored 8 points in that OT. But overall, I think it was a very good game. And LeBron is the one that impressed me the most. You notice we put stunned in the title. The reason I said the Lakers stunned the Clippers is because the Clippers had won 11 straight against the Lakers. So it was a stunning turn of events. To me, I think the Lakers deserve to win that game. Both teams blew leads in the end. The Lakers blew a very close lead. A very good lead at the end of the game to take the game into overtime. The Clippers blew a very big lead at the beginning of the game. But I think the team that executed ultimately came away victorious in that game, and I think the Lakers deserve to win. There are no moral victories here for the Clippers. Even though, yes, it was a back-to-back, even though Kawhi Leonard played 41 minutes, the Clippers were in a position to win that game. Ultimately, and as I was watching that game kind of transpire in that overtime, it led me to begin to ponder some other things about James Harden that I'm going to get to in another show. But overall, man, LeBron really showed. He didn't show that. I'm sure for LeBron James fans, they already knew this, but it was very, very impressive. I'm not even going front. You gotta give it up. You got to give it up. Now, what we're doing now is something that other people that don't like our channel, that don't like some of our favorite, they would never do. They will never do. And I said, you know what? Let me be gracious to the Laker fans here. Now, it is fair to say that you guys still have some very obnoxious fans. I woke up this morning, some idiot wrote me like 2 books on Instagram, adding Paul George, adding Russell. You got to be a flaming idiot to do something like that. But somebody did that. And of course, you're going to have those obnoxious morons that do that. But overall, man, it was a very, very impressive win by the Lakers. I think the Lakers now go to 3-2 and the Clippers go to 3-2 on the season. Excellent win. And I think LeBron James deserves every bit of credit that he's going to get for the rest of the day, because that was a very, very impressive win. And he showed up. At that age and in this stage of his career, it was absolutely spectacular. So my hat's off to LeBron James. My hat's off to the Lakers. You guys definitely deserve that win. And, good job for you guys. I thought the Lakers were going to be a good team this season, so this really doesn't surprise me. And I think they should keep this up. Let me get into this topic here. So yesterday was a very big game in the NBA. We got to see the Battle of LA between the Los Angeles Lakers and the Los Angeles Clippers. And whenever these games come on, is always a lot of fanfare, right? There's always a lot of excitement. There's a buzz. A lot of people want to see these two teams go head to head, and there's always great theater. And that's exactly what happened yesterday. The Lakers and the Clippers put on a spectacular display that kept all of us on the edge of our seats all throughout that game. So to me, it was a very, very impressive and fun game. To watch yesterday. Ultimately, I would have liked the Clippers to come away victorious, but the Lakers played very well. LeBron James played very well, played like the top 5 player he is of all time. Some people will say he's a GOAT, whatever, but to me, he really put forth another stellar performance at an advanced age that he is, and he should be commended for that as one of the greatest players of all time. So that happened. Now, on the Clippers side, when the James Harden news initially broke, I was one of the people that was livid. by this move, because I just didn't feel that this would be a good move. Not just apart from an X and O standpoint, but more from a chemistry standpoint and a cultural standpoint. James Harden has basically forced his way out of the last 3 locations he has been. That's the Houston Rockets, the Brooklyn Nets, and now the Philadelphia 76ers, where he now finds himself being a Los Angeles Clipper. At the time the trade went down, I was saying to myself, the Clippers don't need James Harden. They're already a loaded roster. They have all of their horses, so I don't know why they would go out there and try to complicate things by getting another scoring point guard / 2 guard on their roster. But nevertheless, they pulled the trigger. Steve Ballmer and these guys said they're going to swing for the fence, and they're giving themselves every single opportunity to try to capture a championship this year. And I think James Harden, to a certain extent, is an insurance policy for some of those guys in case they go out. And I said this before, initially when the news broke. So that happened. So yesterday, I was watching the game. And as you guys know, Russell Westbrook this season for the Clippers is averaging 15 points per game on 51.6% shooting from the field. He's shooting 38.9% from the 3, which is spectacular. That's the highest he shot in his NBA career, albeit it's only been 5 games. He's shooting 50% from the free throw line, although he's only attempting 2 free throws per game. Just yesterday, before the game, he was shooting 40%, so I wouldn't pay too much attention to that number. Instead, he is getting you, get this, 7.8 rebounds a game and averaging 1.6 offensive rebounds as a guard. That's unheard of. As a point guard, that's unheard of. That's what Russell Westbrook is giving you. He's giving you 7 assists as well, 3.8 turnovers. Last night, if I'm not mistaken, Russell Westbrook finished that game, I believe, with 6 or 7 turnovers. Let me see. He finished that game with 6 turnovers, right? I'll get to that in a moment. And he's getting you 2.2 steals per game, which is the most he's averaged since 2014. So that is spectacular. And also, if you watch the game, Russell Westbrook plays with a lot of energy. He's tenacious. He's going to crash the board. He's going to get into guys. And he's playing at 120 miles per hour, which is a good thing, but at times it can come back and actually hurt you. And that's really the part I want to focus on. A few things that I want to touch on. Number one, sometimes Russell Westbrook can play out of control. If you look at the end of that game, he had a turnover where he just hit the floor. I mean, he just slipped down on the floor. He sometimes has some unforced errors. He wasn't the only one. Kawhi Leonard did as well. Other players made turnovers in that game. But there was something that was just kind of sitting with me as I was watching the game. And I said to myself, what would it be like if James Harden were to start and Westbrook were to come off the bench? We know Westbrook is going to push the tempo. We know he's going to attack the teeth of a defense and create a lot of open shots for players as he collapses defenses. Maybe he's able to kick it out to open shooters, or maybe cause a hockey pass, get guys moving, really get the defense to move from side to side. He does that. He's going to rebound the ball very well. He's going to crash the offensive board, get you second possessions, which is something that's, that cannot be under, you cannot understate that. Yesterday, for example, he got 11 rebounds. 4 of them were offensive rebounds. That's spectacular. He had more offensive rebounds than PJ Tucker. PJ Tucker, who had 5, and he brought in a lot of energy in that game. So he's going to do those things for you, and he's going to assist the ball. But I said to myself, what if James Harden was the one playing? What does he give the Clippers? Well, just looking at Harden, James Harden is a career 24.7% score from the game. He's a career 5.6 rebounder from the game, so he's not going to get you the same amount of rebounds that Westbrook is going to get you. He is going to get you 7 assists per game. However, what he is going to do is he's going to be able to space the floor for you. And that's something that's vital. Last year for the 76ers, he shot 38.5% from the 3. And I'm saying to myself as I'm watching that game, what if it was Harden? Harden is not going to give you the defensive energy. He's going to have to cause you to overcompensate on the defensive side of the floor, but he's also going to make you pay, especially when you go to that small ball lineup. Because that small ball lineup, when they move PJ Tucker to the 5, is when the Clippers were able to get back in the game. Now, for that to work, you need to have perfect spacing on the floor. And you need to trust that that guy is going to hit an open shot. Well, if you remove Russell Westbrook, you have a guy that's shooting 38% from the field, from the floor in James Harden. You have a Paul George who's shooting in the high 30s. You have Kawhi Leonard who's shooting in the high 30s. I forgot, and I think they had Norman Powell in the game who can shoot close to 40% from the three. And I think that it makes that small ball lineup more lethal. Now, if we look at turnovers per game, let me see what Harden is only averaging 3.4 turnovers a game. The most he averaged before was when he was playing with Brooklyn, which was 4.8, and they both turn over the ball quite a bit. But I just want to believe that Harden is going to be able to control the ball a little bit better because he has a better handle. Russell Westbrook, from time to time, the ball can slip out of his hand. It will just go anywhere at various points. And to me, after watching that game, I came to the conclusion that I would be open to seeing what James Harden will look like in the starting lineup as the starting point guard. I would be very interested to see. We've seen Russ, and Russ is playing exceptionally well. But yesterday was the first time I said to myself, I said, you know what? I wouldn't mind seeing what Harden would be like as a point guard starting that game. And the Clippers are going to have 4 days off, and I commend those guys for playing back to back, but they're going to have 4 days off. We've heard that James Harden is going to start when he starts on Monday in New York. Let me get into this topic. I think this is going to be an interesting one. Now, as you guys know, 2 seasons ago, all hell broke loose when Russell Westbrook signed with the Los Angeles Lakers. And you had people in the media twerking it up all over the place, knocking over people's drinks out of sheer excitement that the Lakers are going to be able to compete with the Brooklyn Nets at the time, who had James Harden, Kyrie Irving, and Kevin Durant. And we're going to see a finals matchup of the Nets and the Lakers. Well, what happened? The Nets definitely never made it to the finals, and neither did the Lakers. As a matter of fact, that season, the Lakers didn't even make it into the play-in tournament. And it turned out to be an absolute disastrous, when I say disaster, disastrous season that year. And the majority of the blame fell at Russell Westbrook's feet. That season, he averaged for the Lakers 18.5 points per game. He shot 44% from the field, 29.8% from the three, let's say 30%, 66.7% from the free throw line. And it was an absolute disaster, and it was a terrible fit. Now, Russell Westbrook didn't help his cause at times because, number one, he did not play well that season. Number two, he was very, very combative, and he was averaging 3.8 assists, 3.8 turnovers a game, and he was combative with the media, right? But what we also noticed was that Russell Westbrook was being made out to be the face of all of the issues that the Lakers were facing. And it was something that many of us believe was deliberate, and it was one of the reasons why you had people like Charles Barkley calling out the Lakers for trying to blame Frank Vogel and Russell Westbrook for everything, knowing damn well they lost as a team. Now, was he a bad fit? Absolutely. But Russell Westbrook was definitely demonized by the media. Definitely demonized to the point where a lot of people were beginning to wonder, wait a minute, we've noticed a trend that whenever LeBron James teams don't do well, there's always going to be blame that's going to be passed around to other players. And in this case, we're asking the question, well, is Russell Westbrook now the latest scapegoat? And some of us are beginning to ask the question, if Westbrook is being blamed this poorly, I'm sure some of this has to be coming out of the Lakers camp and maybe from Clutch Sports as well, right? A lot of us were wondering this. Now, whenever you saw Russell Westbrook in the media, you would always talk, you always say the right thing. He's always, I'm willing to do whatever it takes for the team, willing to do whatever it takes for the team. The second year, they then asked Russell Westbrook to come off the bench. He even agrees. And, they were trying to play, but it wasn't really working out. But a lot of us were speculating that the Lakers were doing this to Westbrook. And I'm sure Russell Westbrook, a part of him, must not have liked how the Lakers were throwing him under the bus. And he must have felt the type of way to LeBron James. Fantastic. So what happens? Yesterday, they meet up for the first time while he's as a Clipper, and he makes his return to LA. And what happens? When Westbrook comes out, he gets booed. Now, if you know anything about LeBron James, he's a happy guy. Like, he goes out there, he'll shake everybody's hand. Hey, you know, hug it up. That's how he is. That's his personality. I'm not knocking him. That's how he is. But then something interesting happened. A video surfaced of Russell Westbrook and LeBron James actually avoiding each other. And Westbrook went to the other side of the court under the basket, and him and LeBron James never even greeted throughout that entire game. And this video was actually released by brought to us by fadeawayworld.net, and we're going to play it for you without the audio. We want you guys to watch it in its entirety. But before we even get into that, this video is brought to you by our sponsor, Aura. Do you know what the fastest growing crime in America is today? It's identity theft. Imagine trying to log into your email only to see that your password has been changed. Then you start getting weird notifications from your bank and credit cards, only to find out that all of your personal and sensitive information has been totally compromised. If you think it can happen to you and your family, just know that in 2020, over 49 million Americans were victims to identity theft, costing them a combined $56 billion. That is why we are excited to partner with Aura, who's the sponsor of this video. Aura is the #1 identity theft and financial fraud protection. Aura monitors the dark web and alerts you if any of your passwords and accounts have been breached. And funny enough, after using Aura, I discovered some of my credentials were floating around in the dark web, and the app showed me exactly when and where the breach happened. In addition, Aura allows you to set spending alerts, and they'll notify you of any suspicious transactions. Aura is 4 times faster than any of its competitors in alerting you if someone is trying to open a credit card or obtain a loan using your name. And remember this, every 14 seconds, someone becomes a victim of identity fraud. Don't let it happen to you. Now click the link in the description and try Aura for free for 2 weeks and see if any of you or your family's personal information has been compromised. Start your free trial at aura.com/dreamerspro. And when you try Aura, by using the link in the description below, also know that you're supporting this channel. Thank you. So what we want to do is we want to play the video for you. It's very short, like a 20-second clip. I want you guys to watch it, and then we're going to come back and continue on with the show. Take a look at that. So you saw the video. Now, if you were watching the game, you will also see that there was a point where Westbrook tried to go up for a layup, and LeBron James punched the hell out of that ball and said, get that, you know what, up out of here. And to me, this is what I think. I'm just going to speak from my opinion. I think that at the end of Russell Westbrook's tenure with the Lakers, I think there was no relationship between him and LeBron James. I think Westbrook viewed LeBron as, you guys know that we failed. This project failed. We failed as a unit. We didn't get it done. But you sat back and let the media throw me under the bus, and y'all never really came to my defense. Not really at all, except for one time. But I think that Russell Westbrook didn't feel, he wasn't liking how the Lakers threw him under the bus and how LeBron really didn't come to his defense all that much. And he kind of let all of that go. Right? I've heard Kobe Bryant come to the defense of Powell when the Lakers were really pissed off at Powell. And he called out Laker fans like, no, cut it out. This is not going to happen. LeBron recently did that with Anthony Davis, but he never did anything of the sort with Russell Westbrook. And the part I think that might sting Westbrook is that he's like, y'all recruited me. Y'all wanted me here. Y'all wanted me here. So it was all love when we were winning or when we thought of the idea of winning. But the minute things fall apart, you just leave me out to the wolves. I mean, it got so bad that you had people coming out with reports calling Russell Westbrook a vampire. Now, to me, I think it was a PR job by the Lakers. And they wanted to make Westbrook look bad. I believe that. And I think that other people in the media had various reasons for attacking him. Skip Bayless made it his personal vendetta to attack him. Shannon Sharp, at every turn, for a year plus, attack Russell Westbrook. Demon, I mean, he really criticized the hell out of him. Like, he contributed to it, and it made it seem as if he was the primary reason that the Lakers were losing, and when he wasn't. As a matter of fact, at the trade deadline, when they traded away Russell Westbrook, they got a bunch of pieces. It wasn't that they just got rid of Westbrook. The fact of the matter is, it was a bad fit from the start. It was a bad fit. And LeBron and AD and Westbrook, all of them got to wear that. because they were all with it. They thought it was going to work, and it didn't. It didn't. So to see both of these guys not even greet each other, you knew there was something there. You knew there was something there. There's something that LeBron did that Russell Westbrook wasn't feeling. For him to not greet him? The last time Russell Westbrook held that type of malice towards a player was Kevin Durant. It was Kevin Durant. They deliberately did not come together and greet each other. So it wasn't just smoke and mirrors. We weren't just imagining it. It was a real thing. And I don't think Russell Westbrook appreciated how he was shipped out of there. And the way he was covered cost that guy a lot of money. It cost him a lot of money, which I'm sure is something that Westbrook is also pissed off about. Like, yo, y'all cost me money. Tens of millions of dollars messing with you dudes. Like, what's going on? Ever since I met you dudes, my money's not been right. My money's not been right. So I'm not saying it's all LeBron's fault, but I definitely think that there's something there. Let me get into this topic here. Now, as you guys know, there was a big game yesterday, and the Clippers ultimately lost an overtime game to the Lakers. And prior to that, Russell Westbrook was one of the happiest men in the NBA 2 years ago when he signed with the Los Angeles Lakers, which gave him an opportunity to come home and play for his hometown team. As you guys know, it ended up being an absolute disaster that season. I think they only won 34, 35 games that year. They didn't even make it into the play-in tournament. And it was an absolute media like firestorm surrounding Westbrook. And he was blamed literally every single day for what transpired with the Lakers. Now, to be fair, Russell Westbrook also didn't play well. He had a lot of blunders. He had a lot of bloopers. He was quite defiant with the press at times. So he contributed to it as well. But it was a terrible, terrible fit. And in the midst of all of that, various narratives, vicious narratives were being created about him. And it only started when he became a Laker. They started questioning what he's like as a teammate. He's a locker room cancer. Dave McMenamin put out a report calling him a vampire, that they were referring to him as a vampire. And I was like, that's surprising. That's the very first time I have ever heard Russell Westbrook get referred to by his teammates or a team as a locker room vampire. Never heard anything like that. But you could tell that the Lakers and those guys in that locker room were trying to make him the scapegoat, and they successfully did that to the tune of costing this guy tens of millions of dollars a year. Think about this. Russell Westbrook, before he joined the Lakers, his last season he was expected to be paid over $45 million. Now he's going to be earning $7 million over the next 2 years. You tell me, did he have a $40 million drop-off? $35 million a year drop-off? Yeah, help me figure it out. I mean, every sensible NBA player has absolutely ripped any kind of ranking or anyone suggesting that Russell Westbrook is not a good basketball player. But nevertheless, some people are trying to push that line. So what happened? This morning I was doing some research, and I came across an article via fadeawayworld.net. And the article had the headline saying, Russell Westbrook sets the record straight on made-up narratives with the Lakers. And I was like, this should be very, very interesting. But before we even get into this article, this video is brought to you by our sponsor, Aura. Do you know what the fastest growing crime in America is today? It's identity theft. Imagine trying to log into your email only to see that your password has been changed. Then you start getting weird notifications from your bank and credit cards only to find out that all of your personal and sensitive information has been totally compromised. If you think it can happen to you and your family, just know that in 2020, over 49 million Americans were victims to identity theft, costing them a combined $56 billion. That is why we are excited to partner with Aura, who's a sponsor of this video. Aura is the #1 identity theft and financial fraud protection. Aura monitors the dark web and alerts you if any of your passwords and accounts have been breached. And funny enough, after using Aura, I discovered some of my credentials were floating around in the dark web, and the app showed me exactly when and where the breach happened. In addition, Aura allows you to set spending alerts, and they'll notify you of any suspicious transactions. Aura is 4 times faster than any of its competitors in alerting you if someone is trying to open a credit card or obtain a loan using your name. And remember this, every 14 seconds, someone becomes a victim of identity fraud. Don't let it happen to you. Now click the link in the description and try Aura for free for 2 weeks and see if any of you or your family's personal information has been compromised. Start your free trial at aura.com/DreamersPro. And when you try Aura, by using the link in the description below, also know that you're supporting this channel. Thank you. So let me read what the article says. It continues on. It says, just hours before tip-off against his former team, Russell Westbrook was asked to respond to the narrative on his Lakers exit last season. In the ugly divorce that took place, Westbrook was scrutinized for being a poor sport in the locker room and a selfish player who was unwilling to adjust his game. According to Russ, however, those claims were false and he never let them control his life. Nobody knows. It's just made-up narrative. It's just a made-up narrative that people make easy to run with, Westbrook said. There's never been a teammate, coach, staff, never one bad thing. It's just what's made up. But it's all going to play out. You know why? What makes people upset is how I don't give a F, because I know who I am. I know what kind of person I am. So I know when people say something, I don't waver because I already know. I know what I do behind the scenes that people don't see. And I like it that way. The article then continues on. The Lakers were initially hopeful when they traded for Westbrook, but things took a turn for the worse when they struggled to win games early in the season. Eventually, it was undeniable how poor they all played together, and Russ was made the center of blame for most fans and critics. The article then continues on. Westbrook hate was out of control. Russ averaged 17.4 points per game as a Laker, but his poor shooting and questionable decision-making became a major liability for the team, and fans turned on him pretty early on. After tensions rose all season long, things reached a head when Russ's wife, Nina, admitted to reciting death threats from Laker fans who hated the family name. During games, fans would take booing Westbrook anytime he dared to shoot a jump shot, and it got to his head in the end. Eventually, the Lakers were finally able to move on from Westbrook, and his exit there would later be described as removing a vampire from the locker room. Unfortunately, Russ's reputation may never fully recover. So that's what the article had to say there. Now, I think that these people would have a point about Westbrook if we can pull up other occasions when this was said about the guy. I've never heard this. Not with the Thunder, not with the Houston Rockets, not with the Washington Wizards, not with the Clippers. Why is it all of a sudden just at the Lakers that all of a sudden this guy became a terrible person? Y'all help me figure it out. Y'all help me figure it out. To me, I think is the machine that kicked in. And it kicked in so viciously that fans ran with it and took it to death threats. Really? It mean that much to you to be sending and I know it's not it happens all over sports. Really? It happens in every sport. Really? Life is that effed up that you're gonna be sending death threats to people over a game? A game. They took it too far. Skip Bayless did not help. Skip Bayless was an absolute jackass when it came to the Russell Westbrook slander. Even yesterday, Richard Sherman, Keyshawn Johnson were pushing back on Skip because he tried to come up with another ridiculous, absurd argument for Westbrook. Skip is just sitting back and waiting for this guy to fail. That's his only job. He's just sitting there waiting for this guy to fail, which is sad. Westbrook was demonized to the point where now people that never supported him actually became Russell Westbrook fans because now they want to see the guy succeed. It got that bad that people that never rooted for him at any point in history started to support him. I don't believe a single word that was said about Westbrook coming out of the Lakers. I don't believe it because no one else has said it. It's like you date 5 women, you break up, but they're like, he's a gentleman, nice guy, he wasn't cheap, blah, 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 intelligent guy. And then you date, and then one girl comes out, he was abusive, he was horrible, he didn't brush his teeth, he smelled, he was cheap, and they're like, then all of a sudden we're going to take what this one person said and run with it. Why? Well, because, she dated a lot of high-profile guys, so for her to say that, come on, stop. And that's essentially what happened. I'm not seeing this vampire. That's what I'm looking for his fangs. I'm trying to figure out what happened to this vampire. So to me, listen, I'm glad that he set the record straight. He played well. He did have some blunders here and there, but so did everybody in that game. He has 6 turnovers. Was he the only one that had turnovers in that game? So to me, listen, man, I'm happy that he stood up for himself, and I'm happy that his teammates are standing up for him. I'm even happy that his coach is standing up for him. Those allegations were absolutely outlandish because we never heard them before. These are my thoughts. Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section. We catch you on the next show. Peace.